Light Elf. Just got the book in today. As a matter of fact, I should have grabbed it because I gotta show you this. You're gonna love this. Yeah, baby. Arrived a lot sooner than we thought. I heard a knock at the door while I was cooking earlier, and wow, just I went flipping through this, and I saw stuff like this. What was it? Armor of Spite. Unholy glyphs engraved on this black iron magic armor burn with a faint orange light. While wearing this armor, you gain +1 bonus to your armor class. I was like, that's just within the first 12 pages. Oh wow, this is going to be awesome. And they have stuff like the Asp's Kiss, which is this weapon right here. Like going through it was just a Void Touch buckler. I mean, I'm not even kidding you. This thing, with a little hacking, I could even put a lot of this into my old school game. So thank you so much for this. By the way, even after this, you still got 3 readings and a birthday reading. So whenever you need a reading, feel free to come on back and we'll go ahead and get that set up. But for now, let's get to yours. And thank you again for this. This is amazing. This is awesome. I'm loving it. Alright, so your question, let me go back to that email real quick, because I did some meditation on it while I was shuffling, and let's see what we got. Okay, that can fuck off. There we go. There it is. Hello, hello. Let's have a look. Ah, here we are. This is the one. So, question is, so political science led by your friend. You've been writing there, making podcasts under, good screen name, by the way. A friend's going to end the site because it's taking up too much time. Political pressures of today. Okay. Doing so will reveal my identity as well. Okay. Reveal your channel name, Ingwaz. Okay. Let's see. Let's see what's going on. So, got your question in mind. In my own opinion, the last reading I did was for the weekend, and where it focused on was doing the things you actually enjoy doing. Like really doing that, like knowing, here lately the themes have been knowing what you're worth and going to get it. Don't let anything stand in your way. And absolutely certainly the biggest message that's been coming through is not getting yourself locked into the prison of what others will think of you. That is the worst to be in. Because then you don't see the walls. You don't see the locked doors. But you're going to run into them, and they're going to be very apparent. It's a miserable existence. Believe me, I know. But here's what we're really asking. What do you need to know the most? What message will take you even further than before? Personally, I think a final farewell is a good idea. I would say the wisest thing would be to just keep it as it is. You know, we're going to know something very soon. But I'd be willing to bet keeping the Light Elf identity a secret is going to be absolutely key at the moment. Because you will need something upon which to fall back. That's always a good thing to have. And so I pulled the Viking Oracle and Spirit Animal Oracle. Naturally, those always come in a full reading. They go together just like tea and honey, in my opinion. They really, really work well together. Also, for the tarot, I've pulled my new deck, the Murder of Crows Tarot, because you're in a fog right now, and seeing through that is going to be absolutely, it's going to be absolutely important, cutting through it. I wouldn't be surprised if the Sunstone comes up as a potential guide. But we are going to be looking at mind, body, and spirit. So we're going to deal with the mental realm, the very physical and real tangible realm, and then the spiritual realm right after that. Also, angels and ancestors, that was the one I picked for the oracle because it never hurts to ask our predecessors. It's what the Othala rune is all about. We draw on past experiences, we draw on someone else's mistakes, and it's the wisest move because it saves us from making mistakes of our own. Let's see, what else? And, of course, we've got the runes. There we go. And we have two more cards we're going to pull. Just because of your name, Light Elf. So I pulled from the Sacred Light Oracle. We'll have what's descending, so what you should have learned, and then we'll have what's ascending, what you have yet to learn. So we got a full spread out here. Let's go ahead and dive right into this. Again, thank you so much for the book. It is beautiful, it's awesome, and I absolutely love it. I love those kind of source books because they're just full of items that can just spur the imagination and take you anywhere. It's great. Alright. So instead of spurring the imagination, let's cut through the fog, shall we? Let's get it on. Alright. Wow. The 9 Worlds as your significator card. Your significator card is all about you. And this one, this is the one I like to call the where we go one, we go all kind of card, because the fate of one will always affect the fate of many. What you do will have lasting, rippling effects across the board. Okay, and this is why I say keep the identity kind of a secret. I know right now you don't really have anything that affects you, but think about it this way. What is it you could do, and how could it affect someone else? That's the key thing to remember. See, right now you're in a good position, but others associated with you may not be in such a good position, so it's important to kind of protect them as well. You're being guided. Holy, whoa. Oh wow, okay. Odin as your guide. Remember what we talked about just like a second ago. Even Odin knew when he took Eric Bloodaxe, he knew it would affect Eric's people. What he wasn't counting on was how those around him would question him for the first time. And then he would have to admit what it was he was doing. Of course, we also just talked like a second ago about learning from the mistakes of your predecessors. And that's going to be what's most important, because true wisdom is learning from the mistakes of others. So look to others. See what mistakes they may have made. I still think protecting the current identity is a good idea. Next, we're going to look at the what can you emulate in nature? The porcupine. And this is where learning experiences begin. Because right now, you're approaching everything. This is going to be a bit of a new adventure for you. So, a bit of what we like to call in tarot the fool's journey. The fool is rather naive. They're new. This is a new thing to them, and they're just reveling in it. But if you actually look at that card, and it hasn't come up yet, so we'll leave it at that. The fool, the wanderer, whatever it's being called, that card is all about having a little bit of that, almost naivete about it. You know what I mean? Like, the fool doesn't know everything. The fool is very idealistic in that approach. But the thing to keep in mind is just be open to learning new things, right? Mentally, we've got a magician. That is definitely a 5 of Cups, looks like. This is only my second time working with this deck, so some of the imagery is not exactly apparent. And we have an Ace of Pentacles, or an Ace of Coins, in reverse. Okay, let's break this down really quickly. Mentally, you have all the things you need at your disposal. As you pointed out, you're very well set up. You have everything it takes to alchemize what you know and what you have yet to learn into something very cohesive so that you can then move forward. You're absolutely ready to move forward. But this is coming as a bit of a loss. Now, here's the thing. Normally, the 5 of Cups upright, that is loss. That is loss and regret without having learned anything. In this case, it's just the opposite. It's still loss and a little more loss than anything. However, it's also a learning experience. And we're pointing, note how they're connecting. Odin tries to learn all that he can in order to stave off Ragnarok. He's trying to prevent his fate. And the thing about fate is, there are two kinds of things. And this came to mind before the reading, and I was like, that's an interesting thought. Fate versus destiny. Most people don't even know the difference. Fate is what's going to happen regardless. Eventually, the car's going to break down. Some part's going to go south on you. And you'll have to replace that part. Or you'll have to replace the engine. You'll have to replace the transmission, a tire. Eventually, some part of that vehicle is going to completely die. Eventually, parts of ourselves do the same thing. Entropy is always in our future. However, destiny is different. What happens between now and then, what you do with that time that you have, is the most important thing you can do, because there's a destiny to fulfill. Even though it doesn't really seem like there's a new opportunity here for something material, it doesn't matter. Because this, like this always symbolizes money or material things. That's not what's really important to you. And it's good to have these two things kind of out of the way, because it really does make way for this magician card to come into play. Now, physically speaking, in the very real world, wow. Okay. Starting with the death card does not surprise me, because this is the end of one phase of your life. The sun is setting on it, and it's over. It may be the end of Ingwaz. However, the star, this is a great card to come up next. Because even though it's night, stars still guide us. The reveal of the light elf can come next, however they should not be linked. Remember, as the sun sets, the stars come out. And then very quick action with this Knight of Swords. Very fast thoughts, thinking on your feet very quickly. You will have to come to a set of decisions in the immediate. And again, from the physical row here, it does look like the death of Ingwaz gives way to the revelation of the light elf. You're probably starting, as a matter of fact I can see it, you're going to be ending with one audience, beginning with a new one. The great thing about beginning with a new audience is that you're going to find that this is not a laborious process. It's very much something that's going to be bringing you a lot more joy. It's better to let the old die off. Let it sit for what it is. Because the people who needed what they got from it got everything that you could possibly give them. So far, your idea to shift or to pivot, it's looking like a great idea. Just remember to think very quickly on your feet with this one. Keep in mind, decisions will have to be made very quickly. This knight in any other tarot deck is very much charging into action. However, in this case, oh wait a minute, no, this is not a Knight of Swords, I'm sorry. This is a Five of Swords. Sorry, I read this card wrong. This Five of Swords, if you look at him, he's standing right there, very, very stalwart, right? Just strong. So this is going to require a mental strength. The advice of this card is to, when you emerge, when you show yourself, when this identity dies, this one's born anew, you're not coming out of this as a newborn baby. You're coming out of this as master and commander of your field. That should be what's most important. In your spiritual realm here, we do indeed have a Knight of Swords. Is that not strange? This is very fast, quick thought. Ideas are going to come at you left and right. In your meditations, in your spiritual journeys, you're going to be moving very quickly, at least mentally. We have, flipping over here, looks like we got a Five of Pentacles in reverse. This is not you being left out in the cold. This is you being very much right where you need to be. I love how these fives are lining up right with that star card, because you're taking, and of course if you look, you're taking what you've learned from the various losses. but you're not actually losing anything. You're emerging based on what you know, what you've been able to put together. You're letting that sunset on the older project. You're moving into something new. You're very much in control. And you're not worried about... You're not going to worry about missed opportunities, because there's no missed opportunities, really. You're not really missing anything. You're seizing upon it, which is why this is in reverse. But here's what concerns me a little bit. You did get a devil card. Something's keeping you kind of stuck in your spiritual center here. There is something that you're having trouble kind of getting away from. I can't tell you exactly what it is, but with these projects, you are very much stuck on something that you just... It's not that you don't want to let go of it, it's that it's not letting go of you. You can flip that card around. You can spin it completely upside down. And once you do, it's time for liberation. And so far, everything else is telling you, pursue that which is going to absolutely give you joy. But this is the warning sign to get away from the behaviors or the thoughts, the practices that are keeping you stuck in one place. A lot of the times, you can be very addicted to the things you hate. You ever seen it before? You've seen it. The person who stays at a job they hate because it's convenient or because they don't want to lose any money. That's this. And remember, what you do will affect someone else, so it's very important to keep this in mind while you're looking into this. Right? When you understand where it is you're seated in the bigger scheme of things, because you are part of something much bigger at this point. Even though we're mostly just talking about you, what you do can ultimately, shake up someone else's world. And I think that's where this goes, because I could see this devil card pointing right at that 9 Worlds card. And that's why the advice I'm giving you is let the past iteration die, bring out the new one. That way, if they start chasing Ingwaz, they're chasing a ghost. So, let's see what the angels and ancestors here have to say. Well, isn't that interesting? Starting with winter. And it says take care of your own needs. I wouldn't be surprised to see Nothies pop up, because that's exactly what it's telling you. Focus on what you need the most. Prioritize situating and getting yourself in a better position to where you can help someone else. Because if you're trying to help someone else without that, this is what's keeping you stuck in place. The shaman letting you know to trust in higher forces. Higher forces will take care of you as long as you're taking care of yourself. There's an old Bible quote. Used to be spoken quite prominently where I used to live, and it said, the Lord takes care of those who the Lord helps those who help themselves. If you're doing everything that you can to facilitate your end goal, the forces of nature and the cosmos will absolutely step in to open those doors for you. And where one door closes, there's a whole row of open doors somewhere else. So your decision to pivot is actually you taking an open door. And we see this, looks like a Maori warrior, but it is a warrior. And it tells you to be fearless and be strong. So there's no reason to fear. And I think it's interesting that it comes up in this row, because fear is the one thing that could keep us chained down to something. I don't think that you're all that afraid to take on a new project. I think what you're most afraid of is losing the audience you've taken time to build. But the most important thing that I can tell you from this reading so far is that other people are more in need of you than your current audience. Alright, let's have a look at the runes. Ingwaz, Ingwaz, and Gabo. Here we go. So, a lot of stuff is beginning to dawn on you. That's what we know. That's what Ingwaz is. Ingwaz is the dawn. These new ideas from the Knight of Swords and this Five of Swords, they're coming to mind, and you're starting to get these revelations about you. Those revelations are important. Don't just be quick to write them off, because every one of them, let me kind of put this in different terms. It's a lot like these. I've got many of these. I've got some in PDF that I do have some gaming books I didn't care for. However, there was always something in there I could take. There's always some element that I can take out and say, yeah, I can use this. Those little moments where things begin to dawn on you, if they don't immediately apply, don't dismiss them, because they will be applicable later. And if not in full, then some element will be absolutely essential to what you're doing next. And if that one thing that dawns on you right now isn't applicable right now, keep it in the back of your mind, because later on you can be like, there's that moment. I remember that. This is where I can implement it. This is where I can put it into play. And just as an aside, this is the rune I am closest to, because I love these moments where things just kind of dawn on me. My only problem is I have a little trouble controlling it. I get a flood of new ideas, I go to write them down, suddenly they vacate. I don't know what's going on sometimes. Anyway, Ingwaz, or Ingwaz, this one is unity and structure. Sure, does one brick really make a difference? Well, let me ask you something. If that brick is the cornerstone, absolutely. If you have one brick missing from a wall, it really depends on which brick it is that's missing. Having a brick missing from the middle of the wall can be a real problem, unless that was the design. But every brick in the wall makes that wall stronger. Every bit of mortar laid down to keep those bricks in place makes that wall stronger. So the most important thing is to really unify with others. This to me is more of like a collaboration. Even though you're kind of striking out on your own, you can still take all that material that you learned from the collaboration. See, that's why I said this Five of Cups is not lost without having learned anything. You still have those experiences that you can take and still build with. That's most important. And of course, you're absolutely developing the gifts that you currently have. Keep this going, because those gifts are everything. Now let's see what's descending. Let's see what past experiences from which you can draw. Here it is. That sphere of light there. And this is where you have animal wisdom. So we're looking at that porcupine for that beginner mind again. Healing hands and empathic qualities. Your ability to reach out to others, to connect with others, is going to be one of the things that you will absolutely have to draw on, because that's essential. Your empathic ability, or even just the empathy that you're able to show, where you just kind of like tell someone you can relate to where they are, where they've been, that's going to be essential, and it's going to be key to making your new venture successful. Because like I said, right now, your former audience has probably gotten everything that they need out of you. Now it's time for a new audience, and that new audience is going to be even more so powerful than the last audience you reached. You can rebuild. I've done it dozens of times. Now, let's see what's ascending. Here we go. Sacred space. Honestly, I think this is probably the best ending to this reading. And it sums it up very nicely with positive outcomes, clarity, lucky attraction, and removing obstacles. Isn't it interesting how the Devil card came up as an obstacle to remove? Being part of something else. You're able to attract what you need. Here's the thing about it. Your positive outcome is going to depend on the positivity of your approach. And so what I'm seeing from this right now, when I'm seeing stuff like Odin popping up as your guide, when I'm seeing, the star taking the center of the reading here, I see a lot of you really living up to the light elf persona, I would say. Now, don't obsess over your needs, just take care of them. Once you've taken care of your needs, once you're absolutely certain you've positioned yourself well, then you can begin to move and do what it is you absolutely need to do. So honestly, I would say keep the light elf persona away from the Ingwaz persona. Let the sun set on that. It's good as it is. It's one of those moments of, don't be sad that it's over, be glad that it happened. When you can take the positives away from that, you can easily just kind of throw them into Light Elf. And when Light Elf comes through, there will be many who go, this seems familiar to me, but I can't figure out why. And the thing is, they won't dwell on the why. They'll just move into that familiarity. Will be a little bit like coming home to them. And I think that you building this new adventure, I think you embarking on it, is going to absolutely work out. As long as you're willing to put in that positivity, as long as you're willing to do what you're absolutely best at, you're going to unify people, and your Dagon's moments will turn into Dagon's moments for others. About that warrior card, it's like I've always said, I don't have victims that show up to this channel. I have warriors. And whether you do these personal readings or not, you're absolutely among them at all times. But you decide your own level of involvement with it. So the advice that I'm looking at is, let the sun set on one, and let the dawn happen to the other. And that's the best summary I can give you. I hope this helps. And remember, you got 3 more you can redeem at any time. Just let me know. I hope that takes care of things. Hope it gives you a great place to start at least. Alright, just remember, I've always got you, brother. No bullshit. Just remember, take care of yourself and the others around you. Always do what lights you up, and as always, shine on.